Welcome back to How Do You Date These Guys? Why will no one date these guys? It's a hacker podcast.
I don't like that. Why is that spicy?
Oh boy. For our listeners just tuning in, we are trying a lovely green tea lemonade from Trader Joe's, and boy, they really dropped the ball on this one. Imagine if like lawn clippings got into your Arnold Palmer. I think that's what's going on here. It's like not sweet enough to be like sweet tea, and it's not like nuanced enough to be like something snooty people can enjoy.
Trey, you asked me why you've never met my brother. This is why.
But he's great.
Yeah, what are your guys' reactions?
It tastes like the ginger. I feel like every single drink that we drink is like that like really harsh ginger feeling. And I got that in the back of my throat.
Accents.
It was very strange.
I think
Naomi's
I
like
know
a
what
wine
she's
reviewer.
talking about. I don't know. Maybe it tastes like there's some kind of spice at the bottom.
Yeah,
of
like
the
I
drink
get
that's
the
getting
back
lost.
end of it, but it's like it tastes like you literally just put like juice in a room with an Arnold Palmer and then just
Hey, why don't
Just
you two
flicked
kids,
it
you know,
over.
hang
yeah.
out?
Why don't you hang out and then
You have so
this
much
is
in
what-
common. You're
Yeah.
both liquids.
Yeah, and that's what this concoction is.
I'm gonna drink it though.
Excellent.
So, Joel, can you introduce yourself so we can get
My
this
name is
started?
Joel Guy. This is a hacker podcast. Naomi was trying to turn on the volume, the Audacity sound recording software on two computers simultaneously.
It was very
It
hard.
was very good.
Yeah.
What is your name?
My name's Naomi Guy, and can you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ashley.
I'm Trey.
Okay, great.
This
You
is
sound so enthusiastic.
So happy to be here.
I was having trouble picking a name to go with.
So many different ones.
No, seriously, it's so hard. And you're the only person that I know that can like actually bond with me about this because I don't know what name to pick.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I go by Naomi at ASU is so that like people who call me Rosie in
You
a
know that
crowd.
they're from high school.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck, goodbye.
Gotta go.
I'm leaving.
Because I have 3 different names. So, like, my government name is Walter, and almost nobody calls me that besides my best friend, Paul. Shout out to Paul. Love that guy.
He's
my
probably
dad
like
calls me...
listening to this. He's like, yes.
My
Yes.
dad, he nicknamed me when I was a baby. He nicknamed me Butterball because I was a fat baby.
Like the turkey.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly where he got it
Yes.
from. But he said, and I quote, "As soon as you started walking, you slimmed down." So I had to cut the ass end of that nickname off. So then he was just calling me Butter. So that's what most of my family calls me, and then my mom calls me Trey because I'm the third Walter.
Well, you also briefly went by Charles Manson, which
Yes,
for
of
obvious
course.
reasons,
Yes, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
it was
bring
a very
that
dark
up.
time in my life. I don't really like to talk about it.
I brought that up. I was at a meeting this week where someone was talking about how in job interviews, every so often they'll like look up people online and they'll discover like really horrifying things about that person in the interview. And I was like, oh, don't do that for me, because if you look up Joel Guy, you get Joel Guy Jr., who like brutally murdered his parents and chopped off their heads. And they immediately Googled my name. We're like, oh my God, that's exactly what you were talking about.
I just told you not to do that.
Yeah. I think it's a really horrible technique because I think a lot of people share similar names. And
Oh, yeah,
to be
that was-
fair, Joel Guy Jr. looks a lot like me.
No, he doesn't.
She's like,
Well,
not
you
at
haven't
all.
seen me with an axe in my hand. I get a certain gleam, a certain look.
There's a quite resemblance from
Yeah.
there.
You have to get the full picture, Naomi.
Okay, yeah. If our viewers haven't guessed yet, this is the first couple we have had on our podcast. We are a dating
Wait, you guys are a couple.
relationship
I'm just
advice.
I was like, wait, Naomi.
Wait,
are
you're
we
also
really-
not siblings?
I've never
mean,
met this girl in my life.
I have no clue who this is.
We just brought you guys in randomly.
Yeah, I mean, we're a dating relationship podcast. We figured it was useful to actually talk to people in relationships compared to our single butts. I don't know what your current dating status is.
LOL. So Trey, I have a special gentleman caller. That's what I'll call him.
Oh, okay.
I was told to call him that
Is that
yesterday.
the polite term for
Gentleman
sugar
caller?
daddy?
Gentleman caller, yeah.
okay.
He comes to
not a
the
bimbo.
door in like a pinstripe suit and a bow tie. He's like, "Hey, I'm here for Naomi. Yeah, I have a box of chocolates. I ate
It's
half of
very
them."
hot for that, so I'm sure the chocolates are melted and he sweats through the
It's a
suit.
bad time.
I stole these flowers from the flower bed across the street.
He has to laugh exactly like that.
Do you like checkers? I'm a regional champion. Well, not a bi-regional champion.
So anyways, we were bringing Ashley and Trey onto the podcast for a good reason. I've known Trey, God, how many years? Since like I was in 7th grade?
I think so. It was since my sophomore year. That was the first time I met you.
So 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we've known each other for a while. We used to both cry in Claudia's mom's car.
Yes.
Whoa, bond. Love that friendship.
Also, Claudia's mom says hi.
Oh, I love her. She's so nice. I haven't seen them in a very long time.
No, she adores your baby.
Claudia's good though, right? I see she has a boyfriend. She looks very, very happy.
Yeah, Claudia's Gucci. Claudia's living her best life.
Don't say Gucci again.
Okay, Claudia is living her best life. I'll keep to the white terms today. Sorry. So, anyways, I've known Trey for a really long time. Trey has his beautiful girlfriend with us today.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Actually, they're siblings. Actually, they don't know each other. Actually,
They don't know each other at all.
They also have another Walter, which is going to make this on the couch today. You obviously can't see him, though, so it's going to be a little awkward to describe Walter to you. He's about, like 5'4"?
He's the same height as me. He's brown because he's mixed. Very curly hair. And he got braces. I guess he dressed all right, you know.
Yes. And surprise, we're getting him a girlfriend. Behind door number 2.
Oh my gosh.
So anyways, we brought them on today to talk about several different topics. We are talking to Trey about being a young parent because Trey has an adorable little son named Kaden. And
not the 5'4" kid on the couch.
God, what if children just popped out full size?
That would be terrifying. Yeah, let's not talk about that.
R.I.P. to you guys.
This is now a feminist horror podcast.
I don't even want to know what that would be like.
Oh, geez.
And we brought Ashley to talk about HSV2. Yes. I learned from Trey that you know what, Ashley, take it away. Tell me.
Okay.
Let me ask you some leading questions, and then we can do a little
for
back
sure.
And forth.
I'm here for
Walter Cronkite, you are not.
Before we get into the main subject, let's just what's some main things that you want to tell the audience about yourselves? Give a little introduction about yourself.
As many names as you can cram in.
Usually we say, hey, give a little introduction to tell the audience, give yourself, hype yourself up.
I'm very bad at that. So
if you want to date someone in the audience, but I know that you guys are dating each other, so maybe don't do that.
I don't know. She might have somebody. I don't know.
Well, okay, we could try this a slightly different way.
Right.
Do you want to describe each other? What are the awesome traits of your
let's
your
do
partner?
that. Because you're awful at describing yourself.
I mean, I feel like I describe myself pretty realistically.
No, I don't think so, because you call yourself a loser every single day. So
I lose a lot.
He lost to the bi-regional checkers.
I was like, I lose a lot. Yeah, your gentleman caller beat me in checkers, so I'm still salty about that. I was trying to be really good at checkers, and I had to give it up.
When was this?
It's a joke.
I'm confused. I recently posted about him on Instagram, so I was just like, wait, this actually
She
happened?
thought you were for real.
Just piggybacking off of your brother's joke.
Whose
Obviously,
line is this anyway?
My blondest show. I feel like every single fucking time that my blonde shows, it's when you're fucking here, and then you can fucking say something about it, and then you hold it against me for the next 8 years of my life.
Okay, well, in my defense, you in high school you had an exceptional amount of blonde moments.
Damn.
Wow. Exceptional.
Please, let's go off on a tangent. Tell me about my sister's blonde moments.
Oh, let me see. What's the funniest one? I think the funniest one has to be when I was talking about what's her name? She was the I don't even remember what it's called. The drama teacher.
Okay. Miss Giles?
Miss Giles.
Yeah?
That was her name. We didn't get along
Don't
very
worry,
well.
we'll censor all these names.
Yeah, we didn't get along very well, but I was talking about Miss Giles, and for half of my story, Naomi just had this really confused look on her face. And then I got to a stopping point, and Naomi just goes, who's Miss Jaws? And I was like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm talking about Miss Giles. And she was like,
Well, Naomi and I saw a lot of the Bond films when we were younger, and I think it's in Moonraker, the villain Jaws keeps seeing a very tall, very buff German woman who saves him from a number of situations. And at the end of the movie, they walk off into the sunset
a very
together.
buff German woman, Miss Giles.
Sorry, that's Miss Jaws to you.
Miss Jaws.
Mrs. Jaws.
that was one of the funniest ones. All the other ones are just like stuff, but I have a lot of dumb moments too. Like, so.
My thesis advisor at CPA told me that when he was in high school, he like didn't really pay attention in social studies class. And at one point they're like, hey, we're going to do like just a debate thing. You get to choose your topics and you're going to prepare arguments. And, in a couple of weeks, we're going to, have, debates between people in the class. Here are all the topics. And they gave, a list of the topics. And a bunch of people were like, oh, I want to debate euthanasia. And he's like, what's going on in Asia right now? What are all these youth doing in Asia? And it wasn't until the day of the debate, he's like, oh, the death thing.
Oh my gosh.
Why do you guys want to talk about kids in Asia so bad?
The euthanasia are dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you two describe each other?
Yeah.
We've given you enough time.
You can start, I guess.
I'm biased, but Trey, I call him Trey or Babe, otherwise.
Yeah.
But Walter, you guys have heard all the different names now at this point. But I would describe him as a very kind. He is currently going to school and doing work at the same time. Is a father. And
You're a father?
I know. I just found this out too.
a great boyfriend and partner. And also, I don't know, just very kind. And I could go on for hours about it. So maybe describing each other is not the best route to go.
Don't give him a big head.
I hear,
My head is very, very small.
No,
I think
your
she's
physical head, very large.
I think, okay. Well, no.
ridiculously smart. Amazing. He tells me all the time that he is not. I literally will tell him he's smart, and he just
A lot of people would disagree.
whatever. I'm not.
I'm like,
Subtly, Naomi points to self. But no, great man. Overall, I've dated a lot of douchebags, so not a douchebag.
Me as well.
Yeah. So
I feel like every girl has gone through their share.
For sure.
I was dating a guy for about a month who was married and didn't want to tell me, so
Oh my
He was
goodness.
just shy. That's all it was.
Oh my god.
I really like you, but I'm married.
I just didn't want you to leave me.
But yeah, so I just overall great guy. School was in the Air Force. He hated it. He's back, which I'm very glad because I met him a little while after that. And
how long have you guys been together?
Since March, since the beginning of March.
March 3rd.
I met her at the end of
March
I met her at the end of February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a few months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trey?
And to you, good sir.
Well, Ashley has a very Ashley's very, very like giving, so she gives a lot, doesn't expect anything in return, which sometimes I hate because sometimes she just gives too much to the wrong people.
Aww.
But I love her for it because that's just signs of a good person. So I haven't really had that. So she's great. She's very, very sweet. Very, very beautiful. She's very, very vocal about her HSV2. She thought I was going to hate her forever when she told me about it, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know what it was at first, but after I looked it up, I was like, nah, it's fine.
You have a robot? That's so cool.
I know, right? But she's crazy smart. She's crazy hardworking. She's very, very great photographer. She will not say it about herself, but she's very, very great.
I'm hot. I'm physically sweating at this moment.
I'm not even saying anything.
I'm like...
but she's just an amazing person. I haven't really met anyone that's as, I don't really know, amazing and sweet and kind as she is. It's pretty nice change of pace for me, at least.
So now that we've completely watched you guys just drool all over each other, we're
This
gonna
was your
move on.
idea.
What are your best and worst qualities? Now you have to talk about yourself. You
I
cannot.
want you to tear each other down, build back up. This is very Jerry Springer of us.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like all my qualities are
You're at a
pretty
job
bad.
interview right now. What would you say?
I don't know. My best quality? I don't know. I tend to smile a lot. I try to not look sad. My worst qualities? I have a lot. I'm loud, obnoxious.
He likes to scream pussy randomly.
I don't do that anymore, but...
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Naomi, I don't know how to tell you this, but the person you are in high school isn't necessarily the same as the person you are in
I haven't
normal.
changed that much, but that is one thing that I do not do anymore.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I
So
feel
that's
like
that's a really
sometimes,
good quality. You've moved
when,
away
like-
from that.
I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
Well, okay, I remember when the movie 500 Days of Summer came out. Maybe it was before this.
Why
but,
have we been talking about this so much? RJ, I fucking hate you.
Oh my god.
But they have that scene where Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt are in the park just screaming penis. And at least when I was in high school, the penis game was very popular. And the fact it's considered much worse to use any sort of female genitalia is, of course, deeply sexist. So I think you're a feminist deep down. You're both overt and covert about it.
Absolutely.
You embody a type of strong masculinity, a sensitive role model we don't see enough of in our culture.
1000% agree.
See,
Love that.
See, you got to twist it.
There was a purpose.
Kind of twist.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. It's kind of like on your resume where they're like, did you stack papers or were you a great
Organizer, right?
Organizer, yes.
Great
yes,
organizer.
yeah,
Great
exactly.
organization skills.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go. You got to twist it.
Right.
I was a government slave for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, think how well Planned Parenthood would receive you. You're like, yeah, I used to shout pussy. Like, that's what we do.
Come on in.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess. I think my best qualities, I'm super maternal to literally anyone. I'm such a people pleaser, which can be bad and good at the same time. I really just enjoy people and the time that I get to spend with people. I think my worst qualities, I can be very lazy. Also very stubborn when I am not people pleasing at that moment. And I have a spending problem. So that's fun
Me
too.
as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Retail therapy is fun. So other than that, yeah, those are kind of the bullet points.
I think Trey mentioned this, but something that I would like to plug is Ashley is a photographer. Go look her up. Can you? What is your exact?
My
At on
photographer,
Instagram? Yeah.
Yes, my photographer one is Ashley, ASHLEY _ Mariah, like Mariah Carey, and a B as in boy.
Okay,
Ashley
so
Mariah B.
DM her, hit her up, let her know if you need your photography taken care of
Would
in
love.
Arizona.
Need
Yeah.
all of the new local faces. 'cause,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. Okay. Can you give your worst first date experience? If it's with each other, just say pass.
I mean, so yeah, this is a podcast. We're trying to explore issues in modern dating culture, and you've already
first
expressed indignation with some of the guys you've gone out with. I'm interested in seeing, what made them in your eyes. So
she should
negative,
probably
positive.
go first. If it was me, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was definitely not. I wouldn't be here if it was. But I think it's really weird because I don't even really think about this time in my life at that point. But I think the worst date I ever had was a guy that I didn't even end up, obviously, worst date, didn't even end up really dating. Some guy off of Tinder went and was like, yeah, I'll pick you up. We'll go to some super fancy sushi place and I'll pick you up from your, I never, at this point, never had a guy pick me up from my house for a date.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was probably 18, 19.
Okay.
I think it might have been right before I left to college for literally a year. But I got ready and, came out, got in the car, whatever. As I'm in the vehicle, so my dad is a car guy, had the same exact model of vehicle as he had, and my vehicle had transmission problems. 2013, it was a thing. Got into his vehicle. He has an automatic, and I can literally, as he's taking off the bat, literally just got in the car, said hi, gave him a hug, off the bat, puts the car back in drive, and I can literally hear the engine go through all of the gears at first and then start pushing the car forward. And I was like, all right. So I'm literally texting my mom like, hey, I just got into this car with this dude and I don't know if I'm going to survive. So I love you. We'll see how tonight goes. And at this point, still had really, really bad self-confidence, had just gotten out of like a really toxic relationship and was like really trying to find myself at that point. And this was like my first idea of like dating people. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to feel it out. So we drive from Gilbert to Tempe. We went to Tempe Marketplace and he was like, talking to me and just asking me like all this stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, I've never kissed a girl. And he was like 20, 21 at the time. And I was like, okay, cool. Whatever. That's fine.
Just a little different.
Yeah, a little different for me, but that's cool. And then he was like, also, I'm a virgin. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'm okay with that. Like, literally was like, because my first thing when I start like talking to a guy, like obviously as a female, you're like, oh, well, if things go well in the next week or so, do you think that, you're going to have intercourse with this person? It's like, okay, maybe not. So I was like, all right, well, I've never taken someone's virginity before, but we'll see how this goes. And so we get to the sushi place. It was super nice, like pulled out my chair, was super sweet. Start talking about how his ex-girlfriend, first girlfriend ever, was like, I don't remember. This is not a racist thing. She was Muslim or something. I don't know, of a culture where things were just very different. Like they had like a bunch of tears. She wasn't even supposed to be dating him. Like parents didn't know, this whole thing where she was, supposed to stay dating in her race. I was like, wow, okay, that's, really hard first like relationship to go through, and found out, a bunch of other stuff. It was just a very like awkward moment to have where I was just like, all right, so I don't know if I'm gonna be like trying to teach you how to do stuff. And he said he was with this girl for almost 2 years. No kissing, no sex, nothing, like literally. And I was like, oh, okay. And at that point in myself, I was like, oh, maybe he can just wait around forever. I was like, great, okay, cool. And so finish that, get back in the car, and takes me back to his dad's house, who apparently was gone, which was farther than Gilbert. We literally went out to Queen Creek. And
Wait. Was this where he lived, or was this where his dad lived?
This is where his dad lived.
So this wasn't even
his house. His dad was out of town and took me to this like super crazy, like mansion-esque, like 1-story house in Queen Creek. New build. There's literally like an island, and the whole bottom of the island has alcohol in it. Like freezer, like, and regular refrigerator, bottom of the island. And I was like, all right. He's like, you can sit wherever. Literally the house looked like a model home. I didn't even want to touch anything at this point. So I was like, okay, sit down. He literally sits right next to me and is just staring at the TV that has nothing on. And I was like, okay. And so I'm like clutching my purse and I'm like ready to call my mom. It's like, I'm literally a 19-year-old girl. I'm going on this date and I'm about to have to call my mom to pick me up. And so he was like, you want to take a shot? And I was like, sir, you literally have to drive me back home. Like, I'm not staying here for that long.
Ubers don't go out to Queen Creek.
They do not.
No.
And if they do, it's like $1,000.
Yes.
And so at this point, I'm like starting to sweat a little bit. I was like, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. I don't really know how this is going to go. So I was dumb in 19 and was like, sure, I'll take a shot. And took a shot of Fireball with him. Terrible. He literally almost threw up in the sink. And I was like,
it was one shot.
All right, literally one shot. I was like,
also
okay.
Fireball.
Yeah, like Fireball, like really? And so I was like, okay, cool. Went on with that, sat back on the couch, and he like just literally puts his hand on my thigh. And I was just like, we're not even talking at this point. It is dead silent in the house. There is no music, nothing.
You can hear the scorpions just crawling
across
the yard.
That sounds great to me.
And so I was like, all right. And then I just like turned to look at him, and he literally grabs my face with both of his hands and just starts like tongue, it was terrible. Like, just like down my mouth. I was like, I went through with it for like 60 seconds, and then I was just like, no. And so I was like, I need to check my phone really quick, and totally did one of those, Mom, I need you to call me right now and tell me you need me to come home. And my mom is one of those like super cool, like is a teenager at heart, like moms. Yeah. So she calls me and she starts yelling at me, like was like, you need to get your ass home right now. I told you that you, and I was like, Mom, you didn't have to go that hard. Okay. And so I was like, okay, Mom, I'll be home. Bye. Like, and he was like, oh, who was that? And I was like, oh, it's my mom. I have to go home. And he was like, oh, okay, no worries. We get back in his car, and I like, just as a maternal instinct that I've said myself as, I was like, have you ever gotten your car looked at? And he was like, no, why? And I was like, do you not hear the noise that the engine's making?
Was it like an old car?
No, it was literally the same. Like, it might have been a little bit older. So I drove a Ford Focus at the time, 2013, but that one had a lot of transmission issues. Yeah. I didn't know what, like, model his was, but it was still a Ford, and I'm pretty sure it was a Focus or a Fiesta. I don't know, car person. Anyway, I was like, I just was actually concerned for, like, his well-being just as a person. And so I was like, do you need to get that look? He's like, oh no, it's fine. Like, you know, they've looked at it and it's fine. And I was like, your transmission should not be making that noise and going through multiple gears just to drive. And he was like, oh, well, you know, whatever. We get on the freeway. He asks me if I want ice cream. I was like, no, I really just, you know, would like to go home. He was like, oh, okay, cool. We're on the freeway. And I literally see his gear shift gauge go from being in like third to like slamming all the way down. And the car starts like shuddering. Like the whole vehicle's like shuddering at this point. And I was like, you need to pull over. And he was like, no, it's fine. It does this every once in a while. And I was like literally hanging onto the door, like as if something was just going to explode at this point. And so I was like, all right. I just need to make it home. Literally, that's all I was telling. I just need to make it home. So I get out. As we make it home, the car, it stopped shuddering at some point and the gauge went back. And I was like, all right, we get home and my mom's literally waiting outside. Like she was like just staring at me. And I was like, okay, gotta go. And he was like, oh, no, goodbye, kiss. And so I literally just like turned around, pecked, and was like, okay, goodbye. Got out of the car. He doesn't text me for like 3 days after that. And I was like, okay, maybe we both weren't feeling it and we just were good. And I was like, dead. The car exploded after I got out of it.
So many options.
And so I was like, all right, left it. And it's actually hilarious because to this day, actually, I have gotten, I think, 3 or 4 random text messages from a number that I did not have saved in my phone. And it was like, hey, this is so-and-so. And I was like, hi. I was like, so-and-so who? Like, I was like, I don't know what. I know multiple people of this name. So I'm like, who? And he was like, oh, the one that blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nope, not texting you back. And then
I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but, you know, my dad is regional checkers champion. That's how we afforded that nice house.
Yes. And so it's actually funny because that worst date has actually messaged me when we first started talking. And
oh, that's who that was.
He messaged me and was like, hey, are you still single? And was like, literally like, we should like hang out sometime. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't even know you. Like, literally, the worst first date. We have never spoke. Like, are you really? It was just a weird, and he was such like a weird entity in himself that I was like, I just couldn't do the awkwardness. Like, I'm such an open person for one thing. And like, he seemed pretty open too, but it was almost like he was like judging me half the time. And I was just like, this is not going well.
Have I mentioned I've built up my tolerance? I can now handle a shot of Kahlua.
Yes. No, it was really bad. And I actually don't think about that a lot of the time. So I've never really been asked what my worst first date was. So that's how that went. So,
I loved that story.
Thank you.
Pops.
Thank you. I appreciate
See,
it.
mine's lame. I just got stood up at the movies.
How old were you?
21.
Damn. Sister Savage.
I saw a movie, so I wasn't worried about
What
it.
movie did you see?
I can't even
Transformers,
remember.
Age of Extinction.
Because I don't go to... Actually, I went and saw it with my sister. That movie was ridiculously long. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I was just like, when is the end coming? But, yeah. It wasn't... I can't even remember because I don't go to the movies that often, so...
Yeah,
I feel like I talked so much. No, I literally was like, oh, it was first date, got stood up at the movies. Okay, bye.
The story that I won't repeat because I'm not nearly drunk enough. We're going to save that for when Naomi is 21 and we can get sufficiently hammered beforehand.
Yes.
It is one where I like just sufficiently humiliated myself. And I feel like guys' worst dates are either that or, you know, getting stood up, often because they don't, I think, have the insight to recognize they may have been creepy or awkward or weird or whatever.
Yeah, Trey.
No.
But no, I don't think there's nearly as many like psychotic women who go out and date. There may be, you know, a handful of stalkers, but I would say for the most part it is guys who maybe don't understand boundaries and consent and how to fix a car.
Stop side-eyeing me. I was raised to be a respectful individual.
How do you meet people? So let's start with how did you guys meet?
Bumble.
Bumble? Okay.
Yes.
How long do you guys use dating apps to have you met other people in the past that you've like spent time with on dating
Unfortunately.
apps?
Yes.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's just dating apps. You guys don't do it like the old. I don't know anyone that's like, I met him at a party and it just went really well.
I mean, I have met some people, like, I've met some, like, a couple people through, like, friends. So they were, like,
Yeah.
friends of friends.
Yeah.
But, like, it didn't, like, I mean, we're just, like, friends now. Like,
Yeah.
we talk every now and then. But, like, as far as my last few relationships, it's been from dating apps.
Okay.
Hey, Butter, have you met Yam? I think you two would work great together.
I swear to God, it's like Crescent Moon or like Yam or something.
Yes.
We're referring to a TikToker who films her son eating sticks and
nature.
sand and nature. And she lives locally in the Phoenix area, and we're still trying to figure out her kid's name. We're pretty sure it's like Yam or Crescent Moon or
I mean,
something
that's
like
our
that.
get. That is the guest we need to have on this podcast.
He's just gonna sit there and be like, no.
That's all you hear in the mic, just ASMR for the whole entire thing.
Stick is good.
Yeah, I think like
Stick is good.
that is the perfect type of person to interview. You know, a weird parent who has like an abnormal child.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Is this so? There's like slut shaming. Is this like parent shaming? Like
If
calling
you
out
can't eat
parents
sticks
for
with
their-
my child,
Yeah.
I cannot say
Are we also supposed to? Should we get the sticks from our backyard? Like, where do we get these? Where do
Let's
we
make
locally
a
source
drink
these sticks?
out of like
Oh,
cinnamon
they have to be-
sticks
they
or
have to be
something, and that'll be what we
Yeah.
sell.
So you
for.
have to get them from like Sedona
Oh,
or
okay,
like Flagstaff.
Okay,
you know?
got it. Get it from the
Yeah.
vortex.
They have
You
to
can't
be
just
like
plant
preserved.
a tree in your backyard and start eating
course.
Right.
sticks.
That's, yeah,
Come on
no.
now.
These
You
have to be free range.
We let him out of the coop every morning.
Rainwater fed. Come on.
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
So you said that you're living in Casa Grande. You still live in Maricopa. You grew up in Maricopa, right?
I grew up in Tucson, actually.
What the fuck?
From kindergarten through 5th grade, I lived in Tucson. Well, a little bit south of Tucson, but nobody knows where this town is. So
What
I
is
just
it
say
called?
Tucson. It's called Saurita.
I thought you were just gonna stop with salary.
No, it's Saurita. It's growing now. It's a lot bigger than it was when I
Yeah.
first moved there. But nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. So I
No,
just
that's
say
fair.
Tucson.
Yeah, that's fair.
I lived there for like 6 years, and then my dad, who was in the military at the time, got stationed in Alabama. Moved to Alabama for 2.5 years. First 2.5 years of my life. Hated it there.
He was like 5, and he's like, I fucking hate Alabama.
Well, I was in the 6th grade and the 7th grade. It was just bad time.
I have a coworker who's from South Georgia, and like South Georgia is at the bottom of the United States for like so many metrics.
Yeah.
But they would often like say, "Well, at least we're not Alabama."
Yeah.
And apparently, at one point, like there was some national conference where like different high school teams were competing, and she was doing really well in volleyball, and they went and competed against an Alabama team, and she heard the Alabama kids being like, "Well, we lost, but at least we're not Georgia."
Damn.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's like this big thing. But like my mom's from, she was born in Alabama and raised in Georgia, so she was close to her parents. And
She's
stuff, so it
from
was cool.
both? Oh my God.
Well, yeah, she was born in Alabama.
Yeah.
Her mom lives in Georgia now. My dad was born in Arizona, raised in Arizona. He went to high school in Georgia, though. His dad moved around a lot. I don't really know too much about my grandpa. That was before my time. Yeah, so then after that, I came back. I went to school. I went to middle school in Maricopa for a year. That's how I met Paul. He's like literally the only person from that middle school that I talk to now. And then my dad decided that he wanted to try and give me a better education to prepare me for college. Yeah, so then that's how I ended up at Chandler Preparatory Academy.
Oh my God, should we like every time that somebody says that like name, we should just fill it with like Michigan? Like, you know how it's like, because my mom was like, you guys need to stop putting personal information in your podcast. And I was like, well, we'll just have like one sound clip that's just Michigan, like over whatever like we don't want to talk about.
Oh my God.
Well, I was thinking like what we should do is play like haunted house music, like like Disney's Tower of Terror or
Yes.
something. Like a lightning strike will occur in the background when you say CPA. Dun dun dun.
That's actually perfect. We should get Jordan to edit that in.
Yeah.
Or you just do like
Pineapple.
You
Pineapple.
could just do like a person puking in the background.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that's perfect. No, I'll just do that.
Yeah, just every time someone says CPA, just.
Yeah, so those were not great years for either of us.
No.
Did you date at all in high school, either of you?
I did, but it wasn't anyone from CPA.
Smart
That
move.
was very smart.
Yes.
Very smart.
Well, the girls from CPA didn't like me, so it's not like I really had a
Did you
choice.
like them?
I mean, I thought I did. Until they were mean to me.
Damn.
Nah, it's fine. I'm an adult now. I'm over it.
I did date in high school, unfortunately.
How big was your high school?
We were actually a smaller high school, so our
No. How big was your graduating class?
well, okay, so wow,
You can't say small high school
I am
to
being
us.
attacked. Okay, so no, smaller to the average. You guys
To the like to like
to
the
higher, yeah, to
public
bigger.
high
So
school,
like
yeah.
our high school, Higley was supposed to be a middle school,
Yeah.
but they decided against it and then made Higley a high school. So I think our graduating class was probably a little. You guys are going to probably be like, oh my God, that's nothing. But like I think it was less than 350 kids.
I had 79. How many did you have in your
wow.
graduating class?
I don't know. I didn't graduate with them.
Oh shit, I forgot. How many did you had like 40.
I think I had
but that was a
57.
prep, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Our joke's on you. Our middle school and high school was in the same building.
Oh wait, and our elementary school and
And
kindergarten.
the elementary school
Yeah.
was connected.
Yeah.
So
And it
middle
used to
school had
be
one.
next to
my
a
middle
Target.
school and elementary were connected.
Yeah.
but
Middle
then
school
high
had one hallway. High school had the other
Oh
hallway.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That was always the weirdest thing with like kindergarten, elementary, and then middle school being together because like you hit 8th grade and you were like the top dogs, and then you went to high school and you were like, oh my God, seniors, like 18-year-olds, like what is happening?
And they all smelled terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
You go to the
I'm
locker
looking
room
at
for the
you.
first time.
I actually took very good care of my hygiene.
I think it's the opposite. I was talking to a teacher in my senior year of high school, and she was like, "Oh, I have to teach 8th grade geometry next year." And I'm like, "Oh, what's so wrong about 8th grade geometry?" And she's like, "They don't know how to use deodorant." And I think
True.
It's true.
Very true.
I
They
think
just overdose on Axe body spray.
Yes.
They had to ban that. I think that was after you.
Really?
Yeah, they banned
Yeah.
it from our school because everyone
They
was just
should
spraying it.
ban it from America.
Yeah. One of those like Kinder like eggs or whatever, just ban it like that.
Are those banned for real?
Yes.
No, but they came back. It's
Yeah,
fine.
they came back.
What
but they were-
happened?
It was a choking hazard.
Yeah.
And
Kids were,
Axe
like,
body
choking
spray is
on the
also
toy
a choking
inside of it.
hazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, well.
Okay, side story. My sophomore year
Funny
of
thing
college,
about that.
I was coaching at an entrepreneurship camp.
'Cause he was a nerd.
In like Payson, Arizona for ASU. It brought in a lot of like and the proper term isn't orphan, foster home kids out into like nature for a week and a half, and they got to do a lot of natural hikes and spend time in nature while also like learning the principles of business. And I was in one of the older cabins with all of the boys, and the first night they made it very clear, don't use Axe body spray. You're going to set off the fire alarms because they're super old. This thing was built in the 1970s. It's going to, wake up the entire camp. I am sitting out in like the living room of this cabin getting some work done before I go to bed. It's past their bedtime. They're all in their rooms giggling and doing whatever they need to.
Playing with
Within
Legos.
5 minutes of the door closing, the fire alarm goes off.
Oh my gosh.
The camp counselors, the like main staff who weren't, random college kids they'd picked up off the street, had to come down from the top of the hill like a half mile away and disable the fire alarm. Or at least they told me they disabled it, which they probably didn't because that seems very illegal and sketchy. 10 minutes after they left, it happened a second time.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, we were not a very popular cabin that week.
Fair enough.
Yes.
So speaking of children, Trey, you have a child.
I do.
Speak about your son.
Well,
How old is he?
he's 2. He's gonna be 3 in September. His birthday's 2 days after mine. Fun.
Nice.
He's almost like directly 20 years younger than me. It's very great. Very
He has
easy.
no excuse for ever forgetting your birthday.
I have no excuse to forget his.
That's
I feel
true.
like it's a lot worse if I forget his birthday than if he forgets mine. Because up until a certain point, he's not going to be able to like really.
What are you, 3? I wasn't shit when I was 3.
He's not going to be able to get me anything for a while, so I'm not really worried about it. But he's a great little kid. He's very talkative now, which is fun and not fun sometimes when he doesn't want to go to bed.
That's fair.
I'm trying to think. He's very I don't know. He has a lot of my qualities, which I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing yet. He's a very, very happy kid. He's actually very, very sensitive. So like, I mean, I don't yell at him anyways, but like if someone like raises their voice too loud, he like gets nervous and like starts crying. I don't know if that's just like a baby thing, but like he's just like, and like I've realized he gets like really, really anxious around certain people other than other people. He's like, he doesn't get as nervous around women.
He's a feminist.
Yeah, one time we were in the store and he just kind of like ran, not like off, but like ran a little bit down the aisle to this lady that was looking at, I don't know, rice. I don't know what was in the aisle. And just was just like looking at her, and she looked down and he's just like, hi. And I'm just like, can you please come back before somebody calls CPS because there's a random kid running around the store. But I mean, yeah, he's great, sweetheart.
Is his middle name Walter?
His middle name is Lee,
Okay, so
which is my middle name.
yeah. Okay.
I didn't get to name him Walter, unfortunately. That was shut down very quickly.
For good reason.
First of all,
I was like, don't say that, because I've literally told him that if we end up having kids and it's a boy, that I'm going to allow him to name him that.
I was just going to do it anyways.
That's fair.
I'm sorry. I keep returning this, but I can't shake the name of a regional chess champion being Walter
Yeah,
or Quentin or Kyle or something.
Quincy.
Quincy?
Quincy. Kyle's like such a frat boy name.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that's
definitely
fair.
captain of the football team.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Backwards hat.
Who was the captain of our football team?
My senior year?
Yeah.
Me and Harrison.
Okay.
You have a very football team captain kind of name.
Walter?
Mhm.
Well, I went by Trey, so
He also was the regional chess champion.
this is so good at chess. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. I was so good I didn't even go. I won by default.
Nice.
But yeah.
So, Ashley, what are your thoughts on children? Do you like children? Do you want children?
Yes. So, as I said, I'm super maternal. It's been like my thing to like have kids. Like I was always the little girl that had like that fantasy of like having kids and, you know, a car and a house and all these nice things. So I've always wanted children. I've loved them. I am an only child actually myself. So having kids was kind of like I wanted to I wanted to have another, I wish my parents would have had another, but also I don't, just because of the dynamic that we left off as when I got older.
Yeah.
But I have always made the joke that I am a thicker girl. Not that you guys, any of the listeners can see me, but I'm a plus size woman, and I've always made it like my thing where I'm like, I have birthing hips. I'm just made to have children. It's fine. So that's always been my thing, is just like, I'm made to have children. So why not? But I've like every partner I've had in my life, it's always been like a thing like, hey, like if we stay together for as long as I would like to, then maybe we could do that. So kids are
have
everything.
a Walter, another one.
Right, exactly.
The funny thing about it is like when before my son came into my life and I realized the greatness that is parenting, I wanted nothing to do with children.
That's very
because
fair.
children did not like me for like the longest time.
Me included.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so this kid back here, I had to like babysit him when I was in like the 8th grade. He was like 5. And man, when I tell you, like, we would get into almost like fist fights. Like
With a 5-year-old.
Look, okay, first of all, he was very, very like
He was like squirrel.
Yeah, so his punches actually hurt. Like he was swinging to do damage. He wasn't just
That's
like
fair.
He wasn't like, oh yeah, we're fake wrestling like WWE. Like he was actually trying to hurt me. Like one time we were messing around and then I was like, okay, like I'm done. And he was like, well, I'm not. And he pushed me and I ended up falling into like the window in the bedroom and I broke it.
He's sitting in the back. He's like, why are you telling me this story?
And I fell out the window into the alligator.
Yes, I fell out of the window. I broke my neck. I almost died. It was terrible. No, it was just like, it just cracked because it was like one of the double layered windows. So like the first one kind of like cracked and like one piece fell out.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because I was like, oh, dang, the window broke. I gotta go tell my dad. And he was like, no, please don't. He was like, we're gonna get in so much trouble. I was like, it's fine. I'll just say that I broke it. It's fine. He's like, no, please. No. Because it was in his room. So he was like, please, no. I'm like, bro, they're going to find out. They're going to see that the window's broken.
He's like, I'll repair it.
Yeah, he was like, so I was like, and I went and I told them. And they went in there and they looked at it and they were like, what were y'all doing? I was like, oh, we were just messing around. And then like, I fell into the window. And then my dad, being the jokester that he is, that's where I get my sense of humor from. He's just looking at it kind of like in a dad way, like with his hands on his hip. He's like, well, that is how windows get broke. So, yeah, for the longest time, I was like, yeah, I'm not having kids. I also couldn't see myself being a father because I'm just very, very childish. There's just one part of me I just can't let go.
I feel like that's the best part, though.
Yeah.
I feel like always saying, like, that's why, I mean, being mushy, that's why I love you so much. And when I see you with Caden, it's always like, my ovaries.
Hey, Jordan, you can play that sound file of a man yakking.
No, but it's just it's a thing. Like I find like for myself wanting to have children, like I feel like that's something in a partner that it's like
you find really attractive.
Yeah, like you can still have that child at heart moment, and I can be that way as well. Like now that I'm older, I'm like I must be perfect, and I want to be like the perfect mother. But like at the end of the day, like I want to have, kids before I'm like 26 so I can still be a kid and be agile and like do things and still have like almost that, like my mom had me at 23 and even though she is a teenager in herself, like, and that's been kind of hard on our relationship. So I really hope that like I can be more of a mature mother, but I think being able to have that like more similar, like closer in age bond with your kid, I almost think can be good sometimes if you go about it the right way. So that's why I think it's cool that like when Caden gets older, you guys are only 20 years apart. So like even though you're still he's going to be like, wow, Dad, you're old. You're still going to be like.
I get that from him now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just like earlier, like I was like, because I've messed my knee up from like football in high school and like the military and
so many people that I know that are like, I messed up my wrist from football or I messed up my like hip from football. And I'm like, then don't fucking play football. Like.
I heard something is like 30% of the injuries of young teenage girls between age 14 and 20 are caused by like
Football.
school sport problem.
Yeah, no, like I
wonder what it is for boys.
my knee and my shoulder from football is like messed up. But it's like one of those things where it's kind of like I don't know, like once I had played football since I was like 5. So like after a while, you kind of like build up a like tolerance to some injuries. Now, obviously, there's some where you just can't like play through. Like tearing like anything is like
Breaking a collarbone. Shout out Easy
So like
Santas.
I broke my foot my junior year, so I like couldn't play. They're like, yeah, no. Because I was gonna be like, oh, no, I could still run. They're like, no, sit down. But like other stuff, I'm just like,
Do you remember during like track season, like every single year, it was like 3 bitches and they were always on their fucking crutches. And it was like, that was the thing.
Yeah, so a lot of people like get shin splints running track. Some of them from not running properly, because there is a correct way to run that a lot of people don't know because they don't run a lot, but that's fine. I'm not like judging anyone, that's just a fact. But the other is just like, they just don't like take care of themselves. So like it would always be like we would be doing workouts and a bunch of people are like, oh, because my dad was the coach. Oh, Coach Harris, I got shin splints. And I'm just like, well, that sucks. I wish I had shin splints so I can sit down. But I did sports all year, so I'm like one of the healthiest ones. I'm like, dang, like I wish I was hurt. I want to sit down.
This is now a calisthenics and fitness podcast with Professor Butterball.
Yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, it was just, I don't know. But like earlier, I was like, dang, like my knee's been hurting all week because I also started this job and it's a lot of like walking around and moving around, and
At least you're not working for Jeffrey Bezos.
Yeah, Amazon wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But we digress. It's okay. But
the J stands for just stay in space, ass.
Yeah, so I was like, dang, my knee hurts, and he was like, damn, you're old as fuck. I was like, I'm 22. I've been through a lot. Like at first I was having the need to like defend myself, but after a while I'm like, it's whatever. But like it's funnier when he does it to our older cousin Darius because he's like almost 30.
Yeah.
So it like hits him a little bit harder. He's like, I'm not even that old. Like
He was complaining this week about back pain, and we both looked at each other. We're like, you're getting old.
Well, okay, to your point, I think it is very helpful to have, a parent and a child who are similar in age. Because, I'm thinking about like all the senior citizens in Congress who are passing laws about technology, and they don't know how the internet works.
Right.
They don't know what a social media is.
Yes.
Series of tubes and all that.
did you get that offline?
They don't, understand the concept of cryptocurrency, but they're the ones who are making all of these laws. Yeah. And in the same way, I think, if you have a parent and child separation of 30 years, that's so much.
Yes.
So many changes in culture and technology and like day-to-day interactions and language and vocabulary. It's so difficult to overcome that divide.
Your age difference between our parents is more than 30 years. More than 30 years.
Maybe I'm making a statement. I'm drawing a line in the sand. No, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying it is very helpful if you have less of a gap. Now, obviously, like, you don't want that gap to be super small. Like, oh, me and my child are 18 years, 16 years, 15 years apart. That's a little weird.
I saw someone at the mall the other day. I was helping my little sister come up with like a senior picture outfit.
Yeah.
Because she goes to Xavier, and she was like, similar. Did you have to take pictures for Chandler Prep, like senior pictures?
I mean, I did. I don't know if they ended up in the yearbook or not. So.
I don't know, but like they had like the dress code for it, even though like it was senior pictures.
I had to wear a button-up shirt.
Yeah,
whack.
Exactly. Well, she goes to Xavier, and so she had to also have the same sort of like cover your shoulders and your ankles also have to be covered because we're Amish.
Because we're Amish.
Those nostrils are protruding.
Showing too much forehead.
But we were in Tilly's, and I saw this little girl, and I swear to God, she was like 5 or 6, and she was like, my dad won't let me wear tank tops. And I was like, for good reason. But anyways, I was like, if I tried hard enough, you could have been my child.
Yeah.
Like, you could have been mine right now.
Legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you let your 5-year-old wear a tank top?
I don't know how I feel, but like, is it one that like covers the stomach, or is it like a crop top?
I feel like he would say a crop top
I would
if
say
he meant a
crop
crop
top,
top.
yeah.
It's so weird that you're actually talking about this because I have an amazing, well, I can't speak, friend of mine who actually like knits, and she knitted her daughter like up, and her daughter's like 2, like not even 2 years old yet.
Yeah.
And I think under a certain age, it's cute. Like people think it's like cute to put your kids in like crop top, like sports bras and like leggings.
Yeah.
And then once you get past a certain age with toddlers or children, then it's like, oh no, like not allowed. But
I don't see the issue with the tank top.
I just think like she literally knitted her like a peplum, like little like cute, like tied at the shoulder, like tank top, and you can literally, her baby belly hangs out, like all cute, you know, like she's like less than 2. But I was just like so crazy the dynamic between like ages, like if you were to see, you know.
Well, I think it's just because like I was kind of hesitant to answer that question just because like this little girl was kind of like trying to make it seem like she wanted to show off more skin and kind of make it like sexy. And it was like, no 6-year-old needs to be sexy.
Correct, I feel.
So
seems like an issue with the mom. If the dad has such a problem with it.
You know what? Take it up with me because that could have been my child.
Well, let me push back.
You said you wouldn't have let her wear it, so obviously she wouldn't even have had a problem with it if both of her parents said no. There obviously must be a fight.
Yeah.
Let me push back just a little because it seems by that same logic, like all nudity is sexual, and that's, you know, why people don't take nudism seriously.
That makes
sense.
sense.
I think part of the issue, it's not that like kids are wearing clothing that sexualizes them, it's that people sexualize kids wearing clothing.
Yeah.
The problem
1,000%.
I don't think is any clothing that the kids want to wear because they want to be adult, they want to, you know, appear grown up, they want those things. Now obviously they don't want the responsibilities and shit and baggage that comes with that. They just want, you know, the appearance of maturity and adulthood. And I don't think that's a bad thing per se. The problem is all of the creepy, weird sex perverts who take advantage of that. So yeah, like I'm of two minds where I'm like, I don't know how to handle that as a parent. I'm not sure what the correct perspective is. Because on one hand, like there's this ideal world I want to live in where my kids can run around and do whatever they want. But at the same time, like I also accept that there's a darker side to things that I don't want to expose them to.
Yeah, the societal difference with that is really crazy because it's like, on one hand, you know, you want to be able to explain to your 3-year-old that like it's not acceptable. You know, a girl, like you're not it's weird at a certain point, like 5, 6, 7-year-old girl, like why does he get to wear his shirt off at the beach but I can't? And it's like at that point it's like you may not even be growing boobs at that point, but you still, it's a thing of you have a vagina and you are seen to be not in the right mind to do that. Like as a parent, I can't let you do that because there are things that you do not understand, that, you know, there's these people that are not so nice, that it's just not okay.
Come to Ashley for parenting advice. She's really good at it.
Date These Guys is now a top freedom podcast. We have sole political advocacy.
Also criticize a lot of parents that want to feed their kids sticks. So, so I have an idea. Since we're hitting like the hour mark, do you want to stop, refresh drinks, go into the next episode, and do like...
We could do that.
The intro and outro music of Why Will No One Date These Guys is from the song Drop by the artist Ketsa. It is licensed through Creative Commons, and we are deeply appreciative that they've allowed us to use it. If you're looking to make an impact, this show recommends giving either time or money to Planned Parenthood, a nonprofit organization that provides reproductive health care in the United States and globally. Planned Parenthood clinics and affiliates provide birth control and long-acting reversible contraception, clinical breast examinations, cervical cancer screenings, pregnancy testing, prenatal care, testing and treatment for sexually transmitted infections, and abortions. Planned Parenthood also does great work for those who can't afford traditional medical services. Approximately 4 out of 5 of their clients have incomes at or below 150% of the federal poverty level. Both Joel and Naomi are monthly donors to Planned Parenthood. You could be too.